Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Zod. Anyway, man, since my last video, I've been just kind of kicking back. As you see in the background, I'm getting these shirts ready so me and my son can prepare for our trip. We're not going to September, but I'm figuring that within that time, we'll be able to get extra money, especially when it comes, like, as far as like the trip that's already booked. But as far as, like, you know, any extra money I might be able to get to add to our trip. So I'm selling shirts again. And, you know, just for people that support the team, I'm not saying that you guys should support me in that way, but I'm saying, you know, as you can see in the background, I got to get this stuff ready in order to get it ready for our trip. And hopefully we'll have a really good time for the people that have been asking where we're going to, because I have put it out there on my Instagram. Hopefully it's Thailand. You know what I mean? There's only a few things that could actually stop the trip, but as far as I know, everything's going down. I'm in the process right now doing my info for my passport. But that's one of the things, like I've said in the past, like, you know, when people are trying to get out of a certain area and you're trying to venture out and do other things outside of the gangbanging, it's always good to, you know, push for that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's like nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. I know my last video was, like, I won't say negative, but I was just addressing a certain issue. Not even like I really had a problem. I really don't have problem with anybody that don't have problems with me. It's just one of those things, like, if you speak on something, I'm gonna bring my rebuttal. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to allow people to say certain things and it's without addressing it. And it don't even have to be nothing personal. Just, I feel like I need to address it. Just like this situation. Like, it's funny, like, I've been really paying attention to social media, especially the news and, like, things that have been going on. And it's nothing new to, you know, deal with racism. Racism has always been a, you know, a core part of America and a lot of people's process. It wasn't just America, but America seems to be carrying the torch when it comes to that. And I'm not going to get on here and talk bad about America, because at the end of the day, I consider myself somewhat of a patriot. No, not even somewhat. I do consider myself a patriot, but I also am not a blind patriot. You know, the ones that believe absolutely everything that's happening, they got to back everything that's going on with America. There's a lot of things that I myself would stand against, but in the scheme of things, I do believe in certain processes, and they don't necessarily go our way, but I still believe in the process. Just like with anything, it's like religion. Like, a lot of people that may not see nothing personally, but they know that there's a God out there. And, you know, for the ones that like to refute that, I'm not here to speak to you about religion. I'm just here to tell you, what I seem to be noticing going on in not only social media, but just around the world, and people preparing for different things. You got what's his name, Ibare. I don't know what his title would be. I don't want to say president, but, you know, whatever his title is, I think it's in Bacani or something. Oh, man, I hate the fact that I slayed that name, but I've been paying real close attention to his movements and the way how he conducts himself, and the fact that his program, as far as, like, where he's moving and what he's thinking about. I think his name is like something like Theodore or something Ibare. Yeah, well, I had to start it over. Unfortunately, it ran out of battery, so that, you know, as far as like the audio will be somewhat off, because it's not gonna be as strong. The mic is just here as a prop right now. Yeah, but I'm not gonna even go into. I was gonna go into the whole thing with exactly where he stands and how he's making strategic. He's making strategic movements, and I'll give him that, because it's a strong threat coming from the West right now towards that country. And I know most of it has to do with resources. It's funny how people go out of their way to try to stick their hand in a pot that doesn't belong with them. It's basically history repeating itself. But now that he's making certain moves in order to secure his company, not his company, but as far as his country, or just his section of that continent, I'm applauding it, and I've never really been one to you know, stand against anybody that stands against America. But the fact that I'm seeing the movement in America right now really trying to shift policy in order to justify certain invasions, which it's funny because you used a black man to get in to state something that was not only false, but I don't know. I don't want to go into that, because then you would have to go and watch the general speak on that country, and basically was giving justification to invasion by saying like they're hoarding the gold for themselves and that he's not taking care of his people. But I like something that he did say, that what is it to you what Africa does with their money, and the fact that whatever they decide to do with their money, as long as they're taking care, it has nothing to do with the United States. But I see what it is, because this country is not only well, this part of the continent, or respectively what he runs, is shutting off certain things. They're not exporting, yeah, I think that's the way. They're not exporting certain goods, which is minerals that the United States needs to make things such as Apple and all this other thing in our phones, and the list goes on. And the fact that they at one time didn't gather gold, they kind of was like all over the place. But now that they're starting to stockpile gold in order to strengthen their part, the United States has a problem with it. And like I said, I'm not here to speak against the United States, but this all falls into what's going on right now as far as like the unrest and the outright disrespect of different races when it comes to the United States. Like, I'm noticing it went from the whole deportation thing and getting rid of Hispanics. Now it's like, now that the racists see that blacks are no longer taking their bull, and that they're willing to go to many different extents to get their point across, it's the focus is more on them now, which like it's coming full circle. Like I said, they focus on the Hispanics because the numbers are great. They figured that the deportation process would get rid of that, but it's not really helping in the scheme of things, because there's in small pockets, in different small pockets in America, the togetherness of brown and black is stronger. California is still behind because there's a lot of things that go into it, but for the most part, a lot of other places are willing to stand behind each other. So now, for the racist whites, they're finding it hard to maneuver, and there's a real threat there. Before, they didn't feel no threat. They thought that they could subjugate the blacks once again, and that there would be no outward response. They did that by creating certain divisions amongst people with African backgrounds. There's a lot that said that they were here before this, and those are the arguments they like to create in order to continue a division, especially diaspora wars. That's basically what it is. You got you got the blacks from here that are fundamental black Americans that go against the people from Haiti and all these other countries because they consider them tethers, that they come here and they talk down on black people, but they want all the benefits, which in some cases is true. Like, I'm not here to get on this whole black power and anything of that nature. There's a lot of people that like to speak against me because I don't speak highly of gang members. Like, that's the problem. It's not that I speak down on blacks, it's that I don't speak highly of black gang members. That's the thing. And the thing is, not all of them, just some of them that be doing this weird stuff. I don't speak highly of them. So now it's like Zod is publicing me, number one, because he chose to run with this car and somehow going against his people, which is funny because these dudes create genocide, and over here I'm cool as a bird. But I must digress on that. But the whole reason I was bringing this out is because I don't think people are really paying attention, especially the ones that are more into the political side of what's going on in the world, and that want to be in the know and want to know what's going on. Like, my whole thing is to speak to them. I don't want to continue on negative page, but sorry, my allergies. But yeah, it's something for the people that are into that. That's something to really look into. Because the more eyes on it, the more people are unable to do what they feel like they can do, because they figure they can invade and take what's theirs. But it's no longer that type of party, which people are trying to bring it full circle. It's like, even the mass import of the dudes from South Africa. Like, there's a big argument right now with the people that are Dutch and this and that were from South Africa, to figure that they have now that they're being, I won't say threatened, but now they're being pushed, and then whatever you think you own, you don't own. This is not your country. You are in fact somebody. You're a usurper. You don't belong here. So you're not controlling absolutely nothing. So there's a big thing over that. and I'm not gonna get into all that. I just, you know, point out the what people are failing to pay attention to with the whole race. Like, they try to put one against the other. They put the blacks against the Hispanics. They try to do all types of stuff, but now it's coming full circle. What used to take place in the past is no longer taking place. People are fighting back, and it's not all the way around, because there's still little pockets of resistance as far as black versus black. People don't want to see eye to eye, but it's mostly comes down to the whole gangbanging thing. But now that people are starting to get on board and see what's really taking place, and the fact that they're really trying to once again erase not only blacks but anybody that threatens their supremacy, and it's a real threat to them. That's why I like tell people, get ready for like the dirty politics, get ready for like the undermining, get ready for the little strategic hits. And it may not be in a way to where it's, you know, outright physical, people dying here and there, but it's going to be like the little things, the little key things to disrupting. I would say people will go as far as to you know, create you know, unrest in certain areas amongst other races. Like right now, a lot of people are not really tripping on each other. Yeah, this whole hip-hop stuff, and you know, certain races shouldn't be involved, and all this other hoopla that means absolutely nothing, and which is crazy because these people are so focused on that, they're not paying attention to the big picture, which is these people are outright trying to race you, and all this hidden and silent racism that has been going on since a lot of different things, when they knew it wasn't popular to be able to say certain things out of fear of getting punched in their mouth, or things are possibly unalive, because there's a lot of people that just don't care. Like the same energy that the Klan had before, in the process that they used to go about scare tactics and this and that, it's understandable as far as like they have laws and things of that to back them, but people are not really fearing that either. People are really willing to go all out and crash. And there's another thing, and this is, I'll say this for the people that are on that page, sorry, that are racist, that think that just because the law backs you, that you are somehow exempt from being removed from the planet, and that the military and all these other things that have been put in place to secure your stronghold on this country is no longer so much a thing. Because even though people are still like kind of distant from the whole kumbaya and this hold hands and walk in a straight line, excuse me, because people don't necessarily want to trust other races. But let me just tell you, and this is something that probably gonna upset a lot of people, but there has been, you know, movements that have tried to derail, and not only derail, they want to come in and they want to take all the credit, or they want to put all the light on them. So in the scheme of things, people can accept it. They're like, oh, well, it was only passed because they had these white people or these people behind them. But no, there's a lot of movements right now that are Caucasian and other races that are taking the background, but still letting their voices be heard. There's a lot of, and this is what I say to the people that believe in that whole, oh, we hunt and we do this and we do that, so we're gonna come out on top. What you fail to realize is not only do you have other races that have been active and strongly active in the military, you also got people of your complexion that don't agree with nothing that you try to promote as far as like racist views, stereotypical views. They don't want to hear that. People are at the point to where they want to consolidate not only resources but way of thinking and exchange knowledge and to try to move past what has taken place in the past without being disrespectful and saying that it don't matter. The racists, you know, Caucasians are the only ones really pushing that agenda, get over it, blah blah. But there's a lot of, and it's not small pockets, but these are heavy pockets of resistance that don't see eye to eye with you. And if anything was to really kick off in the United States, you would not only be facing us and other minorities that are not riding the, you know, the racist coattails, are trying to be a part of your program. You would also face your own, and people like to, you know, put these people in like a little lump and be like, oh well, they're all liberals. No, you have Republicans as well that think, that are conservative, that think along the same line. They're tired of that process. their thing is moving forward in the strengthening of America, not the strengthening of, you know, Caucasian America, the strengthening of America, period. If you really want to make America great again, you need to do what was did before, as far as like everybody working together. Because we all know, like in New York, you had the Italian, you had the Polish, you had this, you had that, who made New York what it is because they strengthened it, you know. And then you had other races that came in, as far as like the Puerto Rican, and bring a different type of flavor. You know, you got the bodegas, you got all this. And then as far as United States, you have, I mean, on the West Coast, you had the Mexicans, and then you had Salvadorans, which have a real strong, and that have been to war, that have did all this. So you have all this. It's like a boiling pot. That's how you make America again. You can't make America great again by separating people due to you know, underlying prejudice. Like, that's the only way to make it great again. That's the only way to make nations respected outside of just being a bully. You have to embrace everything that made the United States what it is, and it wasn't just one race. Now, I say all that to say this, because I know I tend to make these videos long now, but I just really want to put that out there for the people that are thinking it's just going to be a one-sided battle. It's not. Because not only are you dealing with your own, you're dealing with people that have been generals and stuff like that in the military that are of my complexion, and some that are of your complexion that don't necessarily see eye to eye with the way that you're doing things. And this is not to promote any type of you know, violence towards anybody from the United States, because like I said, I'm a patriot and I have conservative views, but I'm also smart enough to know that without integrating certain people and integrating certain things, that you will never be great, because it's been proven that you cannot run it alone. And this is for the racists, that you cannot run this country alone. And it's funny because the US doesn't really own nothing of its own. The money that's being whatever are not even Caucasian. Them dudes are Jewish, and this is no shot at the Jews, but you don't own nothing in the United States. Half the property in America is bought from foreign people. Like, as far as, like, you know, you got everybody that own a piece of something, major companies that are owned by people outside of the country. And yeah, you know, Trump's doing his thing to, you know, as far as like with increasing tariffs for certain people, and, you know, trying to thwart certain you know, people that might potentially be a problem in the future. But it's also causing division amongst everybody else. Somehow you have these fools that have been hiding in the shadow for a long time, trying to pop up and think that their same rhetoric will get them anything outside of being laid in a casket. It was proven when you sent them Klan members into Georgia only to get bodied. You're not welcome there. And it's proven. And there's a lot of places, and people like to, you know, mix prison politics with California streets, but the politics in there is a lot different from the streets. Yeah, there's still a, you know, whatever, and we're not going to get into that, but people still think along a certain line. And when it comes down to it, in the scheme of things, when it's war amongst races, it's war. It's not going to be, oh, well, we're cool with you. No, there's no kumbaya on the street. It's war. And when it's war, it's war. You know what I mean? So, and when people's people are being threatened, they're gonna respond accordingly. I can see, like, that's one thing I know for a fact. If it was really on some racist stuff, as far as, like, you know, the racists versus like the blacks in California, there would be unity. Like, that's not even a forced thing. You got people that they would see eye to eye on that, and everything else that took place before that would be suspended, and hopefully never to return to that way of thinking. But people would outright go to war. And then you got Hispanics that will go to war as well. You have a lot of different people, and it's an uphill battle. Like, whatever percentage of people you think that you can run over, it will not happen. And this is just, it's not even to promote violence. This is just, you know, common sense. Like, don't choose to battle people that got the potential to really get grimy and wipe out everything that you know, because your hunting and your all this other stuff ain't gonna mean nothing when you're going up against people that also have participated in multiple wars and are somebody in the army and somebody in the Marines and somebody that don't believe in what you believe in. They believe in serving the country, but they don't believe in racist views, so they will handle you accordingly. So you're essentially going up against military as well. So you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of different things that go into. That's all I'm gonna say on that. My name's Zod, and I know this video was somewhat out of the ordinary, but I do like to get into politics, even though I didn't delve too deep. It was just more of a, the what ifs, and you know, hoping people smart up and just get over themselves and realize that without one, the other cannot be great. You know what I mean? Especially out here, a lot of things are being done that are good in a sense, and there's a lot of things that's being done bad. And I think the things that are being done bad are causing us the most turmoil and the most hate around the whole globe. There's a heavy hand and there's a heavy hand. But you know, president is the president. I ain't got nothing to say about that. But yeah, hopefully people wake up and really pay attention to not only the politics here, but what's going on around the world, because they're not really feeling us right now, and I can see why. With that being said, your boy Zod, you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm out.